The sacred fight for grace. The crown chakra is not just about bliss or transcendence. That's nice. That's wonderful. We need to feel that for ourselves. But in a social justice realm, in a collective realm, it's about how we connect to what is larger than us and what forces try to control or disrupt that connection. I feel like it's wild how everything I'm watching in the news and the media today has been so on target with what I'm teaching. We're living in a country that is desperately trying to divide us, making us hate each other, not listen to each other. And the only people that win from that are the greedy men in power who are literally stealing billions of dollars in front of our eyes. These men who think that they're gods and really they're just thieves. And here we are, divided and hating each other. When the Sahasara chakra is in balance, spirituality is liberation. It reminds us that every being is sacred. It grounds us in belonging, not hierarchy. It whispers, you're not separate, you're whole. When it's out of balance, it pulls out of balance. It's co-opted. Its religion becomes weapon. Theology becomes hierarchy. Grace becomes a gate. We see it in whitewashed Christianity, like blessing empire, but not liberation. We see it in Christian ideology saying that because you think differently, you're going to hell, or that you're trash, or that you're evil. We have a president who calls people, Democrats, evil for having a different ideology. Colonial religion erasing indigenous peoples and calling it civilization. Megachurch capitalism turning wealth into false holiness. If you've watched The Righteous Gemstones, right? The planes, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. Ridiculous, but that's based on reality. Caste and supremacy systems pretending that hierarchy is divine. I'm better than you. This isn't connection. This is distortion. It's spiritual gaslighting on a global scale. We see it in real time with voices like Charlie Kirk. He branded himself as a truth teller, a defender of Christian values, while at the same time spreading misinformation, undermining education, fueling culture wars. He calls higher education a scam, sells false clarity as truth, and he preached control disguised as divine wisdom. Control your women. Taylor Swift, submit. And when he was called out, his followers rushed to make him a martyr. I don't support political violence, but I also don't support sanctifying his fraud, crowning his distortion, or calling it faith. This is exactly what happens when the crown chakra is hijacked by supremacy, whether that be patriarchy, white supremacy, all of the above. Charisma gets mistaken for wisdom. Control gets mistaken for connection. Fraud gets mistaken for prophecy. Sahasara asks us to resist these distortions, to see through the false prophets who weaponize God for power, to reclaim the sacred as collective and liberatory and not hierarchical or exclusive. I tell my students all the time, for me, when I use the word God, it means get your own definition. If your God is a Christian God, the white man behind the pearly gates in the sky, whatever, so be it, as long as you're not shoving that down somebody else's throat. If your God is Allah, whatever, so be it, as long as you're not shoving it down somebody's throat. If your God is Buddha or Ganesha or Shiva, or I don't care. It's not about the dogma. It's not about the ideology. It's about awakening the crown so that we say grace is not theirs to hold. Connection cannot be patented. Holiness is not gated. Holiness is already inside of us. And no matter what our beliefs, no matter what dogma we have, at the end of the day, our job is to connect with and care for each other. Ram Dass, walk each other home. The crown chakra has always been radical. It's Harriet Tubman trusting her visions. It's mystics exiled for seeing God outside the walls of empire. It's queer clergy preaching love in churches that tried to erase them. Sahasara reminds us that the divine is not the frauds who build empires on lies. Divine is in all of us, in our breath, our bodies, our belonging. The divine is not a guru, definitely not a yoga guru, definitely not a church guru. These are men who are seeking power, and it's important for us to remember that. Whisper it for yourself right now. I am not separate. I am whole. My connection is mine, and no one can erase it. I feel as we step into this work, I know I have work to do here. I know that I post and that my post can be divisive. The reality is I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry at the way women are being treated in this country. Women of all races and ages and backgrounds. I am particularly angry at the way Black women are being treated in this country. I'm angry about the way all Black and brown people are being treated in this country. I am angry at the way immigrants are being treated in this country. I am angry at the way queer people are being treated in this country. I am angry that the people in power have chosen to vilify, persecute, go after, harm some of the most fragile people that we're supposed to protect. Gandhi once said that you can tell the worth of a nation by how they treat like animals and the elderly. We're not doing a very good job of treating anyone well. We're not treating children in Gaza well. We're not treating children in the United States well by denying education, by denying health care, by criminalizing people who tell you that vaccines are healthy. We are really messing up right now. So I'm angry. When I say that I have work to do, I know that I need to open my heart and try to help others find the light. And I'm struggling with how to do that. Maybe through this work that we're doing together, I can find better ways for myself to do that. But I'm also not going to be gaslit. And so I want to make this distinction for you because you're going to hear it directed at you at some point. You have the right to be angry about all of the things I mentioned and many more. And when someone tells you that your anger isn't yogic, that you aren't practicing your yoga, that is gaslighting. That is spiritual bypassing. That is exactly the kind of toxic behavior we must stand up against. And the more of us that are willing to do it, the more of us that are willing to stand up and say, no, I will not be quiet when there is an injustice in my presence, the easier it will be for all of us to do. Angela Davis famously rewrote the Serenity Prayer. I'm sure you know that. I accept the things I cannot change. I change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. Angela Davis said, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. That is our work.